My main thesis is that AI is just a tool, and we need to confront our fears and name them. With that framing, I'm going to launch into part 2, which is what I see going on in universities right now. So I'm a professor at UCL. UCL is a top-ranked university in the world. We have some of the best students in the world. We do a lot of research. It's all good. And in my role there is to ask questions, seek answers, and share insights, train the next generation. Here we are on graduation, dressed up in our gowns, celebrating their success and getting them ready for their future careers. What's the main topic on campus is what do we do about generative AI? I think there's a tension here fundamentally. So UCL is an old university founded in this era, 1850s, during the Industrial Revolution. It was the first university to let anyone in, regardless of their religious denomination. It brought women in the same way as men. It was truly, for its time, cutting through. So it was embracing innovation, free, equitable world. And so I think it's only right that we start asking these questions at a place like UCL, but we also need to be thinking about how to protect standards. And that's the first thing that people start getting scared of. They see this technology and they worry that students are going to cheat, that they're just going to be able to press a button and get a degree for nothing, right? They're going to not bother learning. And I want to take that fear seriously because I don't think we should be doing this, which is just going back to in-person exams. I think there's a place still for in-person exams, don't get me wrong, in moderation. I'm happy for a program to have a part of this, but it's not the only thing we should be doing. We should be also building for the future. We should also be building for a future where generative AI is going to be used at work, because the people that are going to get the best jobs are going to be using generative AI. So we've got a responsibility to teach it. So I'm advocating first and foremost personal responsibility, right? And I think that is the best way of having a society, that you give people freedom, but you also make them accountable. So with great, personal autonomy and freedom to do what you want, but you also should be responsible and take your responsibility seriously. So what's happening? Why is this playing out the way it is? I think the fundamental problem is that the world is getting competitive. And everyone knows it. Everyone knows in the West and across the world that it's getting harder and harder and harder to get a job, buy a house, have the same quality of life as your parents or your grandparents, right? The world is just getting competitive. And I think what that does is it changes our mentality. We see everything through the lens of a race, a competitive race, where we've got to get to the buffet table first, because if we don't, we're going to be left hungry. We're not going to get the best job. And I think this is really quite toxic. Because within this framing, anything that gives you an advantage will trigger reactions from others that you're cheating, right? It's like playing Monopoly or whatever your favorite game is with your family. Competitions bring out the worst parts of human behavior, right? We need competition to move us forward, but it also makes us nasty, right? Hence why we get into wars. I've been really influenced here by Advait Sekar, Microsoft Research Cambridge. So I just want to hold this up here and really point to Advait's work. I would encourage you to read his papers. They are deep, reflective pieces. He's a master at writing essays, so definitely worth looking at in detail. The key insight I had from a conversation with him before the holidays was this. It's all about variability of performance. So you take anything that we're, our height, how far we can jump, how fast we can run, how well we can write an essay. Every year I mark students' work. It always looks like this, a normal distribution curve. Whatever we're doing tends to fall onto a normal distribution. You have most of the people in the middle, and then you have some people who are not very good, and then you have some people that are really good. That is just how it is, right? This is basically, so Charles Darwin, natural selection, evolution by natural selection, it relies on this, right? We need variability. We're not clones. We need to have variability, but through variability, we have a normal distribution, right? And it's necessary to move things forward. So let's pull this back to a simple example. And then this is going back to school. So it's just a really nice thought experiment. So when you're at school, maybe you had the similar experience when you were at school. So schools, particularly for the younger kids, they love doing, they want to bring people into line, right? So, and maybe one way that's done is spelling or reading, the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic. So you might have a simple class spelling test, and then you'll have people which are very good, the teacher's pet, the ones that's very good at the top performers, and you have those that are finding things difficult, right, and need a bit more support. Notice ChatGPT here isn't able to spell. I think that's quite funny. So there's basic writing tools we can use. So I've got a little chalkboard here. I'm terrible at spelling. So I'll just say that now. And I'm also got really bad handwriting as well because I'm left-handed. So chalk and pen and paper is the worst as far as I'm concerned. But other people have got really good handwriting and really enjoy that way of, like, they've got good spelling and they've got good handwriting, so they've got mastery of that skill. I don't. So, you know, I remember being an undergraduate and being delighted at the advent of the personal computer, because suddenly now I could do more writing with a word processor and I didn't have to worry about my messy handwriting or my poor spelling. I could just simply focus on the ideas, right? And it creates new problems like drafting, but the tool is shifting things around. But critically, this is Advet's point. He's got this beautiful phrase, AI shaming or technology shaming, is that it changes the natural order of things, right? So when we have a skill set, let's say writing, like with a pen, people who are very good at that and build a personal narrative that says, I'm really good at this because I've been told I'm very good at it, and it's expressed in my skill in this activity. If suddenly the person from the bottom of the class is able to jump up and join you for free, that is threatening. And hence this desire to then say, you cheated. So this is the point, that we have variability, and that's just how nature works, right? I think we can all accept that, right? Darwin was right. We need this because we're not clones. It's how it keeps us on our toes. But we use tools to overcome these limits. And that is both amazing, but also deeply threatening to some. And it depends on where you are on the line. So AI, again, is just a tool. It's how we learn to use it responsibly and understand its strengths and limitations that really matter.